Season 9 continuing on with about several episodes by now. I know I'm not going to be reviewing a lot of Season 9 episodes, well, except Feminies in about a couple weeks or so. I decided to make a video about Pear Bottle and Bite Mac, mainly the characters who are Applejack's parents from the Season 7th episode, The Perfect Pair, which is an episode I also reviewed last year. Now, I really think that, considering the fact that for the gimmick of, as I think of right now when it comes to MLP episodes, I've got a feeling that we're going to see some returning characters and returning references from the earlier episodes from earlier seasons, like Weldy's investigation from Season 5, Moon Dancer, who was a returning character from Season 5, and Zephyr Breeze, who was a returning character from Season 6. And considering the fact that I've seen some information about the next several episodes involving the Kumar Kaseos, and I heard that a Kumar Kaseo might be leaving, which could represent a returning character like Babseeds. I got a feeling that Season 9 is going to have a gimmick of having returning characters just so they can have one more moment and episode focusing on them since this is the final season. I completely say that because, well, considering the fact that the Apple family gets some kind of several episodes and seasons, I think that I want Pear Bottle and Bite Mac to return. Yes, they have passed away, but at the same time, we don't know if it's true for sure. Now, people say that the stars in the Apple Family reunion episodes, well, these represent Bite Mac and Pear Bottle by some of the people who are working on the MLP show. It's literally the only way we know that Bite Mac and Pear Bottle have passed away, but at the same time, I don't know if it's really the case. I can understand that they don't want to show something that will probably scare the kids for life, for people getting passed away and stuff like that. But on the other hand, I don't think that's really going to be the case. I just think that those stars are just something to celebrate the Apple family or something. I know it's kind of a stupid compliment that I made, but at the same time, I just don't think that this is really the case. For one, we barely got a lot of information about Bite Mac and Pear Bottle other than the fact that their parents are completely going against each other because of a rivalry between pears and apples. For the majority of the perfect pair, they just keep Pear Bottle and Bite Mac just completely try their best to have so many moments together since they're completely in love, and then towards the end of the episode, Pear Bottle decided to stay with the Apple family instead of moving. Now with this clip alone, when Granny Smith accepts Pear Bottle in the Apple family, that's literally the only thing that we ever heard from Pear Bottle and Bite Mac from the flashbacks between the feuds between the Apple family and the Pear family. As much as I can understand that they don't want to show a lot involving of what happened afterwards, it still leads a lot of questionable, let's just say, possibilities of what happened after the three sons of Pear Bottle and Bite Mac's sons and daughters have born. Now, when it comes to Applejack, I think that she probably, well, has the most knowledge, comes to... Sorry, I'm just trying to say this. When it comes to remembering her mother a lot, but at the same time, I think the only thing that she remembers is how the feud began. I mean, she did mention that if Mom and Dad are here, they would be so proud in the episode where Apple Bloom got her cutie mark. Which actually kind of makes sense, but when you look at other episodes, mainly the episode when Applejack has been lying a lot, and we don't get to see a lot of Apple Bloom a lot, and not only that, Pear Bottle and Bite Mac haven't appeared in the entire episode, that's completely hiding it too much, especially in the season 9 episode that I reviewed, Twilight 7, where we don't get any screenshots or information about Pear Bottle and Bright Mac. Look, the thing is, I really think that Bright Mac and Pear Bottle were the two ponies who had both of Bright Mac, Big Mac, Apple Bloom, and Applejack. And Apple Bloom is the final pony who got born. Now, if Apple Bloom didn't exist in Friendship is Magic, then maybe I can take this as simple as them passing away. But the thing is, with them giving pregnant to another pony that they're going to take care of, it's really difficult for me to actually see them pass away from some kind of random disease. I mean, the only thing that I can only imagine them disease is getting pregnant for a third time, which isn't really the case. I know it could happen to some people who have pregnant problems for doing it for a third time, but at the same time, I'm the third person that I was born in the family, and my mother didn't pass away, and I'm almost 21 years old by the time I turned 21 this month. Even though that people may have some ideals when it comes to the birth of Apple Bloom and the passing away of Bright Mac and Pear Bottle, I still think that them seeing these characters off screen with no information involving the birth of Applejack, Big Mac, and Apple Bloom really makes the less appearances way more questionable and way more confusing. Now, I can understand that when it comes to the families of the main six, you can argue all you want how it's completely debatable on what family is the best. But to me, the Apple family, Pear Bottle and Bright Mac are the best because even though that some of the development between the other characters, like Pinkie Pie's family and Rainbow Dash's family are one of the only examples that does really decent storytelling, families like Rarity, Fluttershy, and Twilight are just basic family that don't have an interesting backstory other than seeing Twilight Velvet and Light completely impressed in Twilight's new magical abilities. But with the Apple family, this is pretty much the only family I think that has the most unique family plot and backstory out of all the families. In the Apple family reunion episode, even though that it's really obvious that it may have some hints that Pear Bottle and Bright Mac isn't there because they'll either passed away, but at the same time they pretty much moved away. Now, before you say that that's kind of a rude thing to think about, I want you to hear me out. People who completely deliver apples and other stuff from all over Equestria, they usually do that way more often. And the reason why we don't get to see a lot of background characters in Sweet Apple Acres is because they have a lot of things to do when it comes to deliveries. And I really think that they probably went through, and they probably live into different places other than Appaloosa for a change. And even though that Appaloosa is a place where some Western ponies spend their time there, it's not really a huge town when it comes to staying alone. Especially with the activities they have in store during the scenes in Appaloosa Most Wanted episode. Now, I really think that Big Mac and Bright Mac are living in Manhattan. Here's a reason why I think that's going to be the case when it comes to the absence from the Sweet Apple Acres place. The thing is, they went through a lot of deliveries, and then since people have rumored that they probably went through a lot of dangerous stuff like going through Everfree Forest multiple times and getting themselves into a more serious situation because we don't know a lot when it comes to the past, they decide to stay in Manhattan because it's more of a safe place when no dangerous creatures can ever happen. Because Manhattan is literally one of the only places in Equestria that doesn't have 80 situations involving feuds and bigger problems involving Beast doing a lot of corruptions. I know people may have disagreements on that they shouldn't be able to leave Applejack and the others when they're all gone, but at the same time, they probably have other things in mind when it comes to people usually trying to get themselves safe while also having the grandma taking care of the sons and daughters. The thing is, there have been people that I've known have been away from the sons for a very, very, very long time. And it's not because of the famous or stuff like that. They had to go through some very difficult situations. I know this because I've seen this in several other episodes, and even people on the internet who commented about it. When they didn't see the father in about 5 years, from Sugar Conroy, for example, and the fact that the mother is just probably either trying their best to keep themselves safe since they're usually the, no offense, weakest of the family since they're respectful and nice. I think it's really understandable considering the fact that they want to spend their time. Because, just so you know, Applejack, because if that was really the case, then nearly all the characters will have some kind of relevance of the family coming in and out constantly. Since that they're old enough to handle by themselves, they really don't need they really don't need the time to spend they really don't need the time to hang out with the family that often. This also explains in the Once Upon a Zeppelin episode, well, Twilight has thoughts about going to meet with her family and hang out with them, but when Spike convinces her to do it, she decides to because it's been a long time. Almost all the families involving the main six, they really can go without. And even though the Applejack's family, some people may say have passed away, won't be the case because it will probably be the same argument when it comes to Applejack's parents. I mean, Weldy, for example, her parents is probably have the less screen time out of all the parents. Seriously, they only appear in the season 2 episode, which was Sisterhood's Social, and they only made one cameos, and they made a few cameos in one of the episodes in some of the seasons. That's literally it. And considering the fact that Applejack can do her work by herself, I think that she isn't really concerned or maybe aware of the fact that the family is gone or passed away. Because Applejack can handle stuff by herself since that she is the strongest pony in the family. And she really does a lot of great things when she's by herself, even though that it is kind of disappointing for her that she didn't get the chance to meet with her parents again. But I think the biggest example of the Apple family parents should return is Apple Bloom. Like I mentioned before, that she is the final daughter who was born in the Apple family, and considering the fact that she never had some kind of feelings towards her parents because she was way too young to even remember, I think that she's probably the perfect example onto why I think that Bite Mac and Peanut Butter are still alive. I know people may have debates about this, but at the same time, I really think that seeing this as an ideal that Apple Bloom is the final character who was born is probably something that I really think that Peanut Butter and Bite Mac haven't passed away, because she has almost the same colors of her father's mane and skin. And not to mention that when you really think about it, I think that even though that she really doesn't have the relationships between her parents because of some time after that they're gone for some reason, you can tell that Bite Mac and Peanut Butter have some thoughts on either going back to Sweet Apple Acre at some point to meet their daughters. The thing is, even if just because we haven't heard of them and the fact that this feud has been patched up doesn't mean that it's completely over, because I think that family, parents, usually go through a lot of situations when they decide to move on from different places, like places that are outside of Equestria or something, because they want to deliver foods and apples from outside of Equestria just to show how respectful they are. I know it wasn't the case, but after the wedding that Pear, Butter, and Bite Mac had, a lot probably has them to do to go to places since that the Apple family does so many deliveries. I just think that they haven't passed away because that's kind of going a little too far to making this episode a really great episode. I mean, sure, they didn't hint that they have passed away in the Perfect Pair episode, but when you see, well, the feud ending and those sons and daughters unaware of it, even if they pass away, I think that's going a little too far if you really think about it. Because I think that with no scene between Pear, Butter, and her father, in a scene discussing about the fights and stuff together, just really doesn't work. I can understand that Grandpa and Granny Smith completely buried the hatch of this whole feud once and for all, but considering the fact that there were the reasons that they made Pear, Butter, and Bite Mac broke apart, they really need to have a lot of discussions about this new relationship between Grandpa and Granny Smith of what's going on. Off-screen material doesn't usually work for me, but for this one, this really needs to be on screen when it comes to Pear, Butter, and Bite Mac meeting the children after all this time. You can say all you want, but you need to understand that they probably have some kind of information that they wanted to do and want to discuss about the sons on why they have been away. I highly doubt that they have passed away or did anything or get murdered, because as of now, besides the villains, none of the characters in this show have passed away. I mean, sure they did when it comes to old age, like Princess Amore and stuff like that, but villains, they usually die. And the ponies who since that ponies live a very, very, very long time when it comes to the Equestria World, which actually kind of proves to the fact that, that some of the characters, like Twilight and her mother, Pinky and her mother, and all the other characters, are not old and wrinkly when it comes to the age. I think that for what happened between the Apple family, didn't pass away, and they're probably the same age. They're probably the same, they're a little older, but they'll probably didn't age when it comes to being old and wrinkly and stuff like that. I just think that they probably spend most of the time just trying to stay out of serious situations when it comes to the future, when it comes to the relationship in later decades and years. Since the ponies live a long time, I got a feeling that Pear, Butter, and Bite Mac have been spending most of the time in Manhattan just to be safe. And besides, you need to understand that all the parents in the main six have been away, not just because they were disrespecting their daughters by not seeing them for a long time. It's because they want to spend time into different places. And as for the two stars that we saw in the Apple Family reunion, I don't think that that's really Pear, Butter, and Bite Mac. I think that the writers of MLP are just trying to make us think that they did pass away, but they want to give us second thoughts on that, which I did. And like I mentioned earlier, is that we get to see returning gimmicks from earlier seasons, and even though I didn't see most of the episodes from season 9, except the season premiere in episode 4, I got a feeling that for the other half of the season, they're going to have a lot of returns from so many characters. We didn't see Moon Dancer a lot after season 5, and we didn't see Rarity Investigation, no Equestria Girls doesn't count, after season 5. So I really think that this actually has some kind of potential to have some kind of returning characters. I mean, Lion Dust made her return last season, and since that season 9 doesn't have a lot of focus involving the School of Friendship, unlike in the last season, which has 10 episodes, I guess there probably is going to be some kind of room to meet returning characters. Because at this point, having new characters, even if it's just for one episode, I think at this point, Hasbro has been running out of ideas when it comes to new characters. I mean, they might, but at the same time, I don't think that that's going to be the true theme of Season 9. I think that the true theme of Season 9 is to deliver everything that they got left just to satisfy all of us. And I think that the huge satisfied experience is to see if Bright Mac and Pear are still alive. Just because they've been away from Sweet Apple Acres for a long time doesn't mean that they're selfish. They respect their daughters, but they're just like all the other main six's parents. They don't need to take care of their daughters and grandsons anymore since they're getting older. And they decide to have them continue on, and then some point in the future, they decide to make some kind of return just so they can have some kind of reunion to make this a really amazing experience for anyone who really loves the perfect pair. And there's another thing I need to mention is that when it comes to the Sweet Apple Acre family, the Apple family basically, I've heard that Western characters usually don't spend a lot of time and they just go to different places, and then when they have the time during the weekend, they will spend their time in Sweet Apple into their daughter's or son's location to spend time with them. So I really think that this is probably another example onto why Pear Butter and Bright Mac hasn't passed away just yet. I know there's a lot going on, and I really hope that it's not going to be a flashback episode like in The Perfect Pair, because that's kind of reusing ideals, and I don't think that really works, unlike the other times that they did it in Season 7 so far. Season 9 so far is what I mean. I just really think that of what's going to happen for Season 9, which is the final season, would be a really emotional one, just to see the final characters, Applejack, Apple Bloom, and Big Mac, meeting their parents, because as of now, almost all the characters, well, minus Spike, have met their parents at some point. I know they're going to be doing this for real, but at the same time, they're just hiding it. And considering the fact that they're taking a break between episode 13 and 14, similar to last year, let's just hope that the second half of Season 9 will have some kind of huge reunion episode involving the Apple family. Anyway, that's basically all I have for this episode. That's basically all I have for this video. I know some people may have different opinions, but I really hope you really think about the ideas and topics that I mentioned. I know that Season 9 is going to be a more greater season that Hasbro has ever done since this is the final season, and they want to deliver everything that they got. I really hope that you remember most of the information that I stated earlier, because they're doing a lot for this season, and they really want to do everything that they can before Friendship is Magic is over, until they get started on the Generation 5 show, even though that they already have right now. And like I said, in my May 2019 schedule, I'm uploading a fanfic reading involving the relationship between Pear Butter and Apple Bloom that's going to be uploaded in Mother's Day. I really hope that of what's going to happen, of what I'm doing is dedicating of what's going to happen between the huge reunion between the Apple family. They have so much episodes and there's only one episode that should have some kind of purpose, and that's the Apple family reunion. Anyway, that's all I have to say. I'm Lonely Fanboy 4 here, and I'll see you next time.